Yo, what is going on, guys? Frankie Trades here, bringing you another new weekly stock watch list. Before we get started, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. And without much more being said, let's go ahead and dive into the watch list. So, going into this week for earnings week, there is not much going on. The only stock that there could be a potential move on is maybe FedEx. I used to look at that back in the day when they used to be more volatile, but as I've seen it recently, it hasn't really had any important levels nearby it. So, for the meantime, there's really nothing going on for earnings week, which is good for us. No important tech earnings around the corner or anything like that. So besides one, but I'll go ahead and talk about that one as we get into the watch list. So sure, of course, the thing that you guys are all waiting on is, of course, the entire watch list. So let's go ahead and go into it. So with NQ here, if I go to NQ on the 4-hour or the 1-hour chart, you can see that we did break all-time highs on Friday with both NQ and ES. So I'm going to keep things pretty simple. NQ is pretty straightforward. ES, it does get a little tricky, but it does look pretty good on the 1-hour, 4-hour on that index. But as far as NQ goes, really all I'm looking for on this is a continuation or a hold above 24,100 going into 24,200. Typically with NQ, you find some sort of support or resistance every 100 increments on this kind of index. So I'm going to keep things pretty simple because it's the weekend. I'm not going to chart super in depth just because there's not much action going on. There's not enough information and the market's not open. So I can't see what's going on, right? So I'm going to keep things pretty simple. Those are the two areas I'll be watching. As far as downside goes, there is not much going on that I am interested on. Now, where it does change up a little bit is on ES, which is, of course, the futures of the S&P 500. Now, if I go to the 1-hour here, you can see that we are currently in a ascending wedge in a way. You can see on the 1-hour, we actually have a trend line on the bottom side where it's actually not too steep either, which makes me like the trend line a lot more. You can see here we have touched off of it 3 times, and well, 2 times technically, and then from its starting point once, right? But going on ES here, I'm looking for an either breakout and hold above 6,600 on ES, or if we come down, I'd be looking at around 65.80 for potential downside on ES. Now, of course, the issue with the downside part is it is the weekend again, and it's actually relatively close. So anything can happen. So I'm not going to put too much emphasis on the downside because the upside obviously looks more intriguing to everybody because it is all-time highs. So for the meantime, those would be the 2 areas that I'm currently watching, but anything can change, right? But if you're part of Stock Hours in the Discord group, then obviously we talk about these levels every single day. And then with the pre-market review every single day at 9 a.m. Eastern, we talk about super in-depth what's going on and what's presented in the market with us and what's going on. So now, as far as the watch list goes, first things first is MU. If I go to the 4-hour, which includes pre-market, and put this on the 360 days, since that's what I got to do, you can see that the all-time high is at 158.37. I actually forgot to mark my level for this, but the all-time high is at 158.37. The high we made on Friday was around, I believe, like 28 cents. Yes, 158.28. So going off of MU here, I will be watching a continuation here. I did happen to catch a 80% move on this earlier this week. I think it was on Thursday. It was on Thursday where I ended up catching a 80% move. Obviously, I missed out on hundreds and hundreds of percent on the trade. I'm a scalper, so it's not my job to even worry about that. But MU for sure has some momentum and volatility behind it, especially because it's the chip stock. So obviously, it's going to start moving on its own as well. But MU here, I will be watching the all-time high break at 158.37. As far as an entry goes, I'm going to keep things pretty simple and just look at 158 for the meantime. Obviously, with this being super close, this could just gap up and just break, but who knows, right? That's why we talk about it every single day on Monday mornings, and as far as Monday through Friday goes, we do the same thing. So for the meantime, I'm just going to be looking at 158 and see where this heads out. Next up is Oracle, another big one on the watch list. You can see that this actually had a major move from earnings, almost 100 points on the following move. It's all the way to the peak it made, but obviously, when all good things come to an end, this is having a really aggressive sell-off. So for me, I will be watching the continuation on the gap, which resumes at 291.75 from market hours. I will be looking at mainly 290. That's what I'm really focused on, but the gap does resume here at 291.75, and the gap ends at around 243.49 to the exact cent. So for the meantime, I'm just going to be looking at 290. That's more of a simple level, but if we happen to hold up around 291 or even this 292 level, that could be a potential area of entry for me as well for Oracle on this sell-off and the gap continuation that we have on this. So Oracle's pretty straightforward. Last but not least, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are waiting on, is Tesla, bro. Tesla has been on an absolute tear. You could see this major consolidation. We have been stuck on Tesla for a while now. You can see we've been stuck within this 360 to almost 300 area for how long now? Since May. So it is super exciting that Tesla's finally starting to move, and it is paying out amazing. So first things first on Tesla is it gets a little tricky when you want to play these highs. So if you're part of stock hours, we'll try to make some sort of entry at around 396, 397 for an intraday setup. I don't know if I would hold this all the way to 400 because 400 holds a lot of significance on Tesla, and it's a psychological level. Everyone in the market will be watching Tesla at that level, so there could be a lot of resistance there, or it could just let loose, right? Who knows? But as far as a close level, just to trade before 400, I'd probably be looking at 397. Obviously, the big level that everyone, again, is looking at will be 400. Now, after that, we obviously have a lot more levels to talk about. But like I said, this is just a watch list. This is just to give you guys a quick summary of what we're looking at for the week. Tesla can gap up and ruin this whole setup, which sucks because, again, it's the weekend. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. So it's not going to be my job to worry and stress over Tesla and missing this breakout. If it holds up, it holds up. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, right? It is what it is. So, but yeah, that is about it for the watch list, though, guys. Tesla is going to be the one I'm most excited on. Yes, MU and Oracle have really good setups as well, but Tesla is the main one that we always look at, and it's just the main one. You can't treat the main one poorly. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the watch list video. Before you go, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy your Sunday and have a fantastic week. Peace out.